Talk, 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 talk. 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 Talk, 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 talk. Okay. Hope, hope, hope.
Hi, Sky.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which I don't know, do a thing and a stuff and a thing and try to make my microphone work. I hope my microphone's working. Did you guys hear you? You guys heard me going talk, 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 didn't you? All right, well, let me explain that real quick. The theory was, and apparently StreamYard did not do this for me, because usually it mutes me when it's playing a video clip. Apparently I unmuted myself too early or something. I was attempting to see if I could trick my microphone into eliminating the background noise by talking ahead of the actual broadcast so it didn't like go into that whole satsu, you hear the background noise as it slowly fades away thing. I don't know if that worked or not, and I didn't know you guys could hear me going talk, 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 talk. I was just making noise for the sake of making noise. So, there you go. That's what that was. And why am I here? Why am I doing this? Well, I've been stressed out watching all the goings on in the world the last couple of days. Me being a news hound, I let it absorb too much into my brain, and I just needed a break. I needed something to take my mind off all the goofiness and the lousiness in the world, as well as it was a month end at work, so there's a lot of spreadsheets and billing to do and all that fun stuff. So, that being the case, I thought, might as well harken back to the halcyon days of TED Excellence when I would just randomly do this in the course of a day when I had the opportunity over the course of the week. So here we are. I don't have a whole lot of preamble otherwise, just to explain that's what I was doing and here's why I was doing it and all that kind of thing. Hope you're all doing well, all things considered. Who's joining me for this ambush TED Excellence that's already started off like a bad public access television show? Mr. Yes, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. Eric Peters, hello. Somnamnul Nation, hello. Deco, hello. Silent B, hello. Joshua Montgomery, hello. Deco. I already said hello to Deco. Fumbling my own words here. Ryan R, hello. Jonathan Peterson, hello. Mike Savage, Blarg. Lurking Gopher, hello. Neon Leon, hello. Okay, so let's get into it. The bingo card today, I just arbitrarily picked A because A is what arbitrarily starts with. There you go. And what is the subject of today's presentation? Well, I can tell you the title, but I have no idea what the subject is. The cultural currency of meaning. What does that mean? I don't know. This will either be nonsense or informative or something in between. I just rolled the dice with a title of a TEDx that said nothing to me, just because I needed a mystery today. I needed something to just sort of discover all by my lonesome. Well, not by my lonesome, with all you as well. Just a note, there still will be a regular TED Excellence Thursday night. I just needed a mental palate cleanser, if that's what this is going to be. Anyway, so bingo card A, get your bingo cards ready. This one clocks in at just over 12 minutes. And let me know if you can hear it. And then we'll begin.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, silky pantsuit lady. All right. With books and... I'd be curious to know what little interview or conference was being had here either before or set up for after this. Those are some, I don't know if those are comfortable chairs or not. Anyway, you guys hear that okay? Sounds fine. I can hear it. I did clean up the sound a little bit. The auditorium she's in is a kind of echoey, so hopefully I eliminated most of that, but we'll see how we go. Okay. Good evening, everyone.
It's wonderful to be here in front of people live.
Sure.
I'm starting with a photo of my daughter's 14th birthday party.
Okay.
It's
Oh, well, hey, childhood or family anecdote. Already on the board, go over to your bingo cards. Childhood or family anecdote. Circling that on the board. And default free space as well.
a far cry from the year before when I hired a van and a driver, and with Drake blaring, took 15 teenage girls screaming at the top of their lungs to an overpriced and underwhelming hibachi dinner.
Okay, hiring a van and a driver might. Okay, 15. All right, that sounds like an absolute chaos, but okay.
In this photo, we are 2 months into COVID, and already any semblance of a gathering seemed like a distant memory.
Right.
So I decided to surprise her with 5 friends out front in our front yard, behind the fence. I covered the lawn with confetti, put balloons at each post to designate 6 feet, and I left masks, homemade masks, as party favors.
Wow, that's really leaning into the whole COVID thing at the time, huh? Well, I guess most of us didn't know what we were doing either.
I took her by the hand. I blindfolded her, took her by the hand.
You I hired a van and a driver. I blindfolded my daughter. I know. This is just weird.
And when I stepped outside, I had to pause.
Yes.
I was so overcome with emotion and in awe of what she was about to encounter.
What was she about to encounter? A surprise birthday party?
The smiling teenage faces of her friends, coupled with teary-eyed moms holding homemade birthday signs, and this year singing happy birthday instead.
What? This year singing happy instead of what? Huh?
They showed up.
Yeah.
You know that feeling.
What
that
feeling?
Feeling when someone really shows up for you.
Well, of course, I know it every time I go live and I have all of my wonderful audience and fans show up. It still shocks me to this day. So yes, I have that feeling from time to time. So are you going to tell us all about showing up? Is that what we're headed for here? Thank you, Point Curation. Hope you and chat are having a nice day. Well, thank you, Point. I'm having a better day already, so I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well as well up in Canada land. And also, as always, if you have the link to your Etsy store handy, please post it there in the chat, and I'll pin it up. A few more hellos to to those of you that have shown up, because I don't want to ignore everybody. Seth Mays, K. Shull, Evil One. Who else is here? Anybody else that I've missed? Robert Pincus, Jen T. Maxey. Good day to you all.
It's kind of a combination of surprise, delight, and gratitude. It's visceral.
Yeah.
You can't touch it. You can't see it. You certainly can't measure it. But it's there because you feel it.
Okay. You keep moving your mouth around and it's very distracting.
It's a sense of meaning.
Meaning,
when defined subjectively, is situational.
Meaning, when defined subjectively. I think meaning is inherent, well, unless we're talking about language or something, but isn't it always subjective in that way, though? What?
Defined by our experiences, our emotional states, and our circumstances.
Okay.
As meaning-making and meaning-seeking creatures, we apply meaning to everything in our lives.
Yeah.
It's how we interpret the world.
Throughout
COVID, there was this type of meaning-making that was made manifest as we realized.
Meaning-making made manifest. Oh, the English major in me is just all aflutter over the alliteration.
How tightly linked our fates really were.
Well, we were told every day that everybody was responsible for the lives of everybody else's grandmother, so I suppose in that sense. And thank you, in human form, Kami. As you all know, in human form is the worst kind of communist. Take that as you will. And also go check out his channel. Oh, and also, did you know So Inhuman Form has had quite the month so far. First, I think it was earlier this month, yeah? He interviews Noam Chomsky on his podcast Elsewise. And then Glenn Greenwald, the journalist, retweets out portions of that podcast just the other day. Inhuman Form, as far as I'm concerned, is the biggest celebrity in the room right now. So congratulate him on that. He's had quite a month. Okay, yes. Stop licking your lips and moving your mouth around, please.
And the duality of our human nature played out right in front of us in real time.
What?
There was isolation and loneliness.
Yeah.
And virtual dance parties.
Uh-huh.
Human rights issues and rallies and marches.
Overcrowded hospitals and dancing nurses.
Drive-by birthday celebrations and profound loss.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yes. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. You have a better appreciation for the simple things after they've been sort of restricted or taken away from you. Yes, it is one of those things that happens to us from time to time in life where we're given a bit of perspective over the life we lead and the things we have or the things that we don't. Okay. I guess I understand.
We realized and were forced to shift away from what we own and what we do to who we are and how we show up.
It feels more and more like we're all being categorized into the most common denominators than anything else. Who we are doesn't really matter as much as what we represent or what we're told we represent. And I know I'm probably getting off base from the presentation here in some way, shape, or form, but then I don't know what the presentation's about, so I don't feel uncomfortable wandering a bit.
COVID reacquainted us with our higher value as humans and made tangible the meaning that is significant in our life.
Again, if the forced removal of your ability to move around, earn a living, associate with other people, see your loved ones, and so on, if that all made us value those things more so for their absence, I guess, but it was sort of a forced revelation, if nothing else, which kind of takes the bloom off that rose, if you'll forgive the expression.
COVID may have disrupted our lives.
No. Oh, stop. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe it's just the stress of the last couple of days. COVID did not disrupt our lives. Okay? Stop setting aside the blame for what did what here. All right? The disease did not disrupt our lives so much as the reaction to it, as to the governmental intrusion as a result of it, or as an excuse for it. I know she's talking about something else and we're not getting there, but I'm getting a little tired of people just sort of like hand waving away what actually happened, who actually did what, and what the results were. And now, after we have 2 years worth of information, which, it would have been nice to have before they started making these grand decisions over people's lives. Oh, well, now everything suddenly is, all the bans are lifted. Everything's going to be fine now. We just went through 2 years of misery that was based on at least 60, 70% nonsense or fear mongering or overreacting. Anyway.
But it reconfigured our values.
Did it, though? Well, I suppose it gave people who had an opportunity to take advantage of everybody's fear and anxiety to switch a whole bunch of minds, because I've seen a lot of people go crazy over the last 2 years. Anyway.
Now, I normally make a big deal about birthday parties in general because I think my mother always made a big deal about them for me.
Uh-huh.
Until my 10th birthday, when all I got from her was a Holly Hobby card signed Love Mom.
Oh, did that break your heart or something? Why? At 10? Wait a second. At 10, she just got you a card. I'll tell you, that sounds a little cold. Did your dad get you anything? Holy cats! Redneck Ram! Well, thank you so much for your amazing samurai dog cat fox. Oh, dog cat fox.
Wowie, wow, wow.
Thank you, Redneck Ram. That's ridiculously generous of you. Appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. How are you feeling, dog cat fox?
Wowie, wow, wow.
Yeah? Yeah, okay. Well, with that, where were we with the cold card birthday present?
What I realized later on was that it was probably the least generic card she could find in the hospital gift shop that November morning of my birthday, en route to being admitted for cancer that was newly diagnosed.
Okay, now you see, when you do something like that and you sort of like set up something silly and then it makes me look like an asshole. And maybe I was, but okay. Wait, was it your cancer treatment or your mother's cancer treatment? I didn't quite get that bit.
She died a little over a month later, that Christmas Eve.
Okay.
I got a crash course in something you don't really get until much later in life.
Yeah.
A defining moment that split my life into two.
Yeah.
But I derived a deeper meaning and a sense of appreciation for life.
Okay, and like I say, and I was being a little pithy before, but I do mean it in truth. Sometimes you do not appreciate what you've got until it is either taken away or threatened to be taken away or something else. Yes, I understand this. Most people understand this. I am glad that you have a more enriched perspective on things as a result of your hardships in life. I don't wish hardship on anybody, but I do sort of wish that people have enough perspective on the proportionality of their circumstances that they can appreciate the little things and not take everything for granted. Okay, if that's where you're going with this, because I don't know where you're going with this, then in spirit, I am in agreement.
An ability to live in the moment.
Yes.
Because I knew it was uncertain.
Okay.
My relationships became meaningful in different ways.
Yes.
And I developed a profound empathy for others.
Okay.
My values were reconfigured.
Yes. All right. A traumatic incident, a perspective changing event. Yes, these things happen. It happened to you. It's happened to me. It can happen to someone multiple times over the course of their life. I understand. I for as tragic as your situation is, and I'm not making any fun of that, you are not telling us anything that most human beings do not already know. So now that we've established your baseline, where are we going with this?
COVID was our collective crash course. A defining moment in our culture when we were reacquainted with our higher values.
It all depends on the person. It's okay. I'm going to take that as collectivizes own demographic because she's basically talking about we, everybody, anybody who had to experience the little COVID thing. That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to do that. Okay.
It split our life in two.
Uh-huh.
And we also gained greater appreciation for the lives that we had, insight and wisdom from the loss, and definitely a level of empathy that was almost palpable at times.
Uh-huh. Yes, the disease did this. It was the disease.
Paul Tillich, who was a German-American philosopher, said that suffering introduces you to yourself.
Wow, sounds very also Buddhist in a way. Gosh, he was a real forward thinker, that German-American philosopher.
And reminds you that you're not the person you thought you were.
Or it underscores to you what you really care about and, in fact, highlights the person that you are. It all depends on how people deal with tragedy or stress or trauma or a life-changing event. right? There are, personal defining moments. That's what they call a defining moment, right? Something crazy happens and you're put into a situation and you have to make a decision, and whatever your reflexive thought or reaction is says more about who you are internally than maybe the mundane stuff of the rest of the world, right? Real quick. Oh, thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for the happy, heart-filled dog cat fox. Oh, dog cat fox.
Wowie fucking wow wow.
That's right. Wowie fucking wow wow. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I had one of those moments, or I should say, I had a moment where I was more than I expected of myself at one point. This is back in college. Okay, back in college, and I was leaving a party with some friends, and I was a passenger in my friend's little minivan, and ahead of us on a motorcycle was riding our other friend. And he was riding his motorcycle, and we get to this point where we're going to go one direction and he's going to turn off to go to the other direction and go home. And for whatever reason, he hits something or turns wrong or whatever, but he completely peels out. He just completely crashes, slides off, falling off the bike, the whole 9 yards. And so immediately, my friend driving the minivan, screech, stops. And before I know what I'm doing, I'm opening up the side door of the van, and I'm jumping out when the car is almost still going. And I'm running towards my friend who just crashed on his motorcycle. And the first thing that I do is as I'm running to him, I take off my jacket and I roll it up into a little pillow. And I go over to him and I put it under his head and I grab his hand and I just, try hey, wait, you okay? You okay? Can you hear me? And then I turn over to my friend who's just getting out of the minivan and I say, call 911. It was just, this isn't me tooting my own horn for the sake of doing so. It was one of those moments where something happens completely out of the blue. You don't know what you're going to do. And I didn't have any emergency training or anything. This wasn't some kind of ingrained instinct going off in me. This is what I did. Immediately, I was in control, at least of myself. I wasn't panicking and I was taking care of everything. I just fell right into that. And I still remember to this day that sensation of just a switch flipping in my head. And, it didn't inspire me to become a paramedic or something like that, but it at least showed me a side of myself that under any other circumstances, I never would have seen. And I don't know what it was. And thankfully, I haven't been in a similar situation since where I had to act that way. Although in small ways, when there's a whole bunch of people freaking out around me, generally I kind of, get more into a serious stoic state than sort of join in on the catastrophe of it all. But yeah, so yes, these things can happen to people. They happen to people all the time. I get it. You've said it repeatedly. Please, where are we going?
Well, at 10 years old, I was introduced to a motherless girl who went from taking everything for granted to understanding the fragility of life.
Yes, okay, we get it. I understand. We all understand. So what?
As we are coming out of our COVID pandemic and emerging from this collective trauma, who have we been introduced to? I began thinking about this more and more as I started my thesis journey in the middle of lockdown for my master's in business for social impact and sustainability.
Your master's for business in social impact and sustainability. I've never heard of that discipline before. I bet there's a reason.
I was inspired by the meaning making that was emerging out of this trauma, and so I decided to research it as my topic.
Okay.
I wanted to show that meaning wasn't some abstract concept,
but
rather a relative symbolic value. That just because you can't see it, or sometimes there's not even a name for it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Whoa. It's not an abstract concept, but it's a symbolic value? What? Okay. I don't know. I'm going to go over the bingo card real quick because I didn't do that earlier, and okay. Systemic, institutional. I don't think she's used the words yet, maybe in the abstract. Sales pitch for product or service. No. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Nah. Plays victim. No, I mean, her mother being sick, that's not playing victim, whatever. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. No. Privilege. Not yet. Contradicts own point or argument. I cannot help but circle that one out of its, meaning isn't an abstract concept, but a symbolic, like, what is symbolic if not an abstract concept? A symbol projects a meaning to someone in the abstract. It's not. Anyway, patriarchy, no. Weightless example, I don't know yet. All of her examples so far have just been sort of I experienced a moment in life that made me consider the value of my life. And so if that's what we're going for, I guess they're not weightless, but yeah. Wage gap, no. Feminism, no. Marginalization, no. A list, not formally yet. White supremacy, no. Word salad. If we don't get there, if we haven't been there already, we're going to get there, I have a feeling. Self-vilification or wretchedness, I doubt it. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. It's hazy yet. We'll wait and see. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. She said something meaning several times now. If she does it again, maybe we'll see. Mind reading assumes motives. Yeah, because she assumes everybody has had the same sort of abstract experience because of the pandemic, etc. Benevolent condescension. If she keeps harping on the you don't know what you've got till it's gone thing, maybe, because I don't know how many different ways you have to try to get that idea through to people since it's a basic human experience. Anecdote that probably never happened. I don't disbelieve any of the stories she's told us so far, and leaves out vital context. Vital context? I don't know yet. So far I have circled collectivizes own demographic, childhood or family anecdote, contradicts own point or argument, free space, and mind reading assumes motives. Let's go.
A feeling, an aesthetic showing up.
An aesthetic. It's not an abstract concept. It's symbolic. It's an aesthetic. You did your master's thesis on this, huh? All right.
Unfortunately, my topic was rejected by my IRB board.
Please give us the reason they gave you.
For being too abstract.
Oh, joy. Oh, rapture. Oh, thank you. I needed that. That was too perfect. Far, far too perfect. Thank you.
I was told that I needed to ground it in something more tangible to give it context.
Yes.
I was even asked, what exactly do you mean by meaning?
That's the kind of thing I'd ask in the course of a TEDx. Like, what do you mean by meaning? Yeah. Okay, well, you tell us, master's expert.
So I developed a framework of a progression of economic value, which
Whoa. Okay. Oh, no. I was told there'd be no math. Okay. For those of you listening at home, there's now a chart on the screen, a kind of flow chart, I guess. So the first one, there's a tag at the top that says business is transforming from profit to purpose. Okay. So we're talking about, social activism instead of making money. From capitalism to, I don't know, something that purportedly says to make the world a better place. But beneath that says progression of economic value, commodity or goods, service, convenience, experience, feeling, transformation, meaning. Below that, she has some symbolic images of hands, the mind, and the heart, from the tangible to the intangible. Okay, is Chief O'Brien in charge of that part? If you get that joke, you're at least as much of a nerd as I am. Oh, boy. Thank you, John Miller. Looks like a flowchart to guarantee failure. It looks like somebody who maybe has never had a real job in their life or has never run a business or been involved in running a business. Let's see where she goes. I'm going to back up a second or two because I cut her off. So let's get back to the start of the chart.
So I developed a framework of a progression of economic value, which I will get back to.
Uh-huh.
I'm a futurist.
At this point, the self-proclaimed title of futurist, in my mind, has as much value as saying that you're an influencer or that you're a doctor. So goody for you. I'm a futurist too. I think about the future all the time. I'll just put that on my resume.
I think about what's possible.
Uh-huh.
And then I figure out how to get there.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Why didn't you figure that out before you presented your abstract concept to your board of supervisors or whatever? Why'd they have to tell you that it wasn't good enough? Okay.
It's not necessarily about finding the right answer,
Uh-huh.
but really asking the right questions.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, what are the right questions? Like, what do you mean by meaning? Which you apparently didn't ask yourself before you presented your proposal to your supervisors. Okay.
And to me, uncertainty is opportunity.
Why do I feel like I'm at one of those self-help / pyramid marketing scheme seminars?
I was new to academia, and I did.
You don't say. You don't say. In your master's thesis. Oh my God.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
I was new to academia, and I didn't realize that it's kind of just based on an existing theory that you reject or support, and the evidence really didn't mean anything if it wasn't peer reviewed.
Okay, so yes, it's difficult to support a theory without evidence. I don't know what she's talking about. I have no idea what she's talking about at this point.
It was the opposite of the divergent thought and the possibility that I was involved with in my own work.
Okay, word salad. I don't care what anybody else says. That section alone, that couple of sentences is just absolute word salad.
I thought that COVID was enough of a guarantee, enough of proof to show my hypothesis.
Wait, did I miss that? Or is she going to tell us now? What was your hypothesis?
All the rules had been broken. We didn't have time for longitudinal studies or peer-reviewed research.
Oh, yeah, gosh, we are under an emergency. We don't have time to check and see if anything we think might have any actual weight in the real world. No. We just have to feel. The feeling alone tells us where we need to go. I get a stick in front of me and I know where water is. That's a kind of science. Thank you, Mr. Tickletrunk. And don't forget that every problem is an opportunity, and a stranger is just a friend you don't know yet. Oh, golly. Oh boy. Yeah. I keep waiting for the sales pitch of a theory with a name on it or a book that she's writing or something. But please do tell me that you're going to tell us that our instincts / feelings should be enough to prove to us your hypothesis without actually having to do any field work. You should just get your master's without having to try too hard. Is this entire TEDx talk one glorified complaint that you actually had to do some kind of work to get your master's degree? That would be hilarious.
we had to act on the moment now
Yeah.
to focus on how our future was going to unfold.
And we can't take time to find like facts and evidence and, look at historical patterns or anything. No, we have to figure it out right now, right this second. So how did you do that? Or what do you propose?
So I propose this framework for progression of economic, based on Joseph Pine's progression of economic value, loosely.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Joseph Pine's progression of economic value, so I don't know how relevant this is to that. But you want to talk about abstract. I don't know if putting this in front of your supervisors would have had them going, yes, you solved the abstraction problem.
To show that I believed we were moving from trading in the tangible, market-driven value of extrinsic values to a more intangible, intrinsic, and relative type of value.
Okay, 1 second. Thank you, tall person. I can catch one of these live. Happy World Compliment Day. You have a pleasant speaking voice. Why, thank you, tall person. Given the fact that most people tell me I sound like Kermit the Frog's older brother, but that's fine. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, now on this point, she might have a point. Okay, and I'm just thinking about, say, the biggest example of going from the tangible to the intangible, the metaverse. Okay, think about that for a second. Or NFTs, right? Okay, going from working in a world where, now this isn't a new concept, don't get me wrong. The intangibles, video games and loot boxes and all those kind of things you can think of still apply as well. Those have been around a while. But she's not wrong in that a lot of things that we now find value in don't actually exist on the temporal plane, let's say, right? Like skins in CSGO or something. People paying zillions of dollars for some pixel art that's an avatar that they can put up on their account or something. So I don't know if that's what she's getting at, but in concept, she's not wrong that is becoming a larger and larger part of some aspects of our culture and economy. So I'm not trying to give her too much credit here, but she did just touch upon something where my brain made a connection to something real. I don't know where she's going to go from here, though.
So as such, it necessitated a more generative system, less transactional, one that was concerned with the return on impact, not just a return on investment.
Okay, how do I get a return on impact? If I'm selling a product, am I selling a feeling? Hooked on a feeling, ba, ba, da, ba. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
One that would look at money as a means, not just an end.
What? It's both. It has always been both. That's the whole point. It's a means of... Are you... You have got to be kidding me, lady. No.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
What do you think capitalism is? Okay, or no, just forget capital. Just the concept of money in the first place. You earn it to pay for things. It is both a means and an end. What? No.
But I quickly learned that just as business is biased towards the visible, academia is biased towards the facts.
What am I? Oh my gosh, what am I listening to here? This would make sense if our speaker was a visitor from another planet or from an alternate dimension where they didn't have money and they didn't have life-changing experiences, or decision points or anything else. Academia is concerned with fact. Well, now, first and foremost, I don't know if you're correct there. I mean, ideally, academia is concerned with fact, but a lot of ways these days, academia is not so much concerned with fact, but more concerned with the things you're alluding to, like feelings and impacts and that kind of thing. But you're just figuring this out, are you?
What I learned in my research is that us humans, we're biased towards meaning.
I swear, she is an alien in a human suit. Us humans, it's like, hello, fellow humans.
It defines our sense of value.
Meaning defines our sense of value? Circular.
So what if meaning could become our cultural currency?
How?
Now, currency is generally something that's accepted and prevalent.
What?
Cultural currency has the ability to make an impact, shares a new perspective, or a new kind of idea.
Okay, well, let me ask you something then. If I place cultural currency into a bathtub full of water, what is its volume?
With the cultural currency of meaning, we could focus on community and collaboration, not just consumption.
How?
Value that's relative, not just a set metric or a set price.
What?
And driven by community, not just market driven by individuals.
What? I needed this today. I really did.
But I realized we were already trading in this cultural currency of meaning in COVID.
Oh, we were already trading in this. Oh, can I be a broker? Oh, am I already a broker? Wait, am I the cultural currency stock market all by myself?
Every day of our lives.
No.
The way my daughter's friends showed up despite the lack of fancy or fun party.
Or the lack of a mysterious van driven by a guy you hired.
The rallies and the marches against racism and social injustice.
Yeah, that's what most of those were. Yeah. That's what they were there for. Yeah. You're going to talk about all the other stuff that happened on the side?
The way our schedules were suddenly empty, and it enabled us to finally show up for our lives.
Oh, yes. Our schedules were suddenly empty. Oh, like it was this manna from heaven. Oh, it was just this gift that came down upon us for personal reflection and revelation. It wasn't that most people were driven out of work or denied the ability to make a living or, shunted out of the workplace or their lives because of government overreach. No. It was just this windfall of free time we suddenly had. Yes. Oh, and now we can think about who we really are. Why do I have a feeling that you didn't really have a job to lose over the course of the pandemic? I could be wrong, but
this is who we were introduced to.
Oh, yeah.
But can we keep showing up?
What do you mean? Okay, joking aside for a second, which I know is difficult. Show up for what? Okay, so during the course of the pandemic, I'll just talk in generic terms. People were isolated, as you say. They were away from their family members, away from social engagements, away from their jobs. Everybody was having to keep distance from one another and wear masks and all this other stuff. Okay. And yes, there was and still is, in some places, in some people, a great sense of community, of mutual support, of understanding and empathy. Yes, this did happen. Oftentimes in a crisis, you see the best of people when they have the most empathy for a commonly shared experience. Yes, this happens. It is not new. It is not a revelation. You could go back to, I remember long time ago, there was, I think it was the Northridge earthquake And we're going way back in time now, everyone, way back in time. And there were stories about how, the freeways collapsed and pancaked on one another. And just normal citizens, just people from other cars or nearby or whatever, not emergency workers, but just regular people, away. And they all put in their backs and their elbows and their shoulders to lift people out of cars and figure out how to solve problems when, emergency services couldn't get there and people were in trouble. And you just had all these instantaneous heroes come out of nowhere to help one another, not because it was going to get them any gain, not because it wouldn't put them in danger, but because they had a common empathy for another human being in a time of crisis. Yes, this has happened throughout history. Can you maintain that sense of humanity all the time? No, I hope not, because I don't want to be in a crisis all the time where I'm tested. Will I help people out when they need help? Yes. It's a nature of who I am. Does it prove to me something that I didn't know I had before in myself? Like when my friend peeled out on the motorcycle. Yes. It's those moments where you show yourself you can be more than you expect of yourself. Yes, those are meaningful. Those are important. Why do you think that is entirely absent from people in any other situation before or after the pandemic? How can we make this? I don't know. You tell me. How can we make people, quote unquote, show up 24/7? I would love to know. What is your solution to that? Person who didn't know she had to present something of substance to her supervisors, someone who had no idea that academia was concerned with facts. Thank you, Ms. Tickletrunk. I've been here a while, but what does show up mean? Yeah. I mean, does that mean like, if you have the ability to help someone that you see is in need of help, to then help? Is that what you mean? Because that's kind of what I'm working very hard to glean from your stories so far. Is that what you mean?
I believe that we can.
What?
And I see possibility in what's unfolding in the culture at large. Like this brand, Maduka Yoga, who's partnered with a Van Gogh museum.
Sales pitch for product or service right there. Boy, oh boy. Was all of this just a lead up to that? Oh man, tell me more about this Van Gogh yoga project.
In a collaboration on a capsule collection inspired by 3 of his paintings that he did while suffering depression and in a treatment center.
Is there an artist that doesn't paint in some way, shape, or form because they're depressed? I mean, I usually think that, artists, and this is just me, but most artists, they paint because they need to express themselves in ways the world doesn't allow them to otherwise, which already kind of imparts a kind of depression to begin with. I'm not saying that they're all sad sacks all the time and, weeping into their beer or something, but most artists are tortured in some way, shape, or form.
By capturing his humanity and acknowledging his vulnerability, they have brought higher meaning to their product and thereby their people that buy it.
Mr. Tickletrunk says that's not her product or service. That is a sales pitch for a product or service. It doesn't have to be hers, but she's definitely pushing that.
Virtual currencies.
No, do not tell me that Bitcoin is now going to be a part of your presentation.
Have a lot of potential as well.
Oh my God.
The social value that you can get from an NFT, the symbolic value that moves beyond the visible into another dimension can make cultural currencies tangible.
I was just kidding before. I thought my brain had gone off into La La Land and she just said, boy. So now you're a proponent of NFTs. You went from like meaning and impact and feeling and showing up, and now you're shilling for Bitcoin and NFTs? Really? Okay.
Social tokens are like buying stock in people and communities.
That's what... The mechanisms of NFTs and virtual currency are the exact same thing as stocks. It is speculative investment. Did you just wake up yesterday? Or do you think that everybody in the audience is just a complete moron?
that you believe in and that you want to support. Miami coin is a great example of this.
Miami coin? I honestly have never heard of Miami coin. Tell me more about this wonderful product.
The mayor of Miami has established the Miami coin, and he feels that it's going to revolutionize the way that his community can contribute to societal needs.
Oh, yeah, great. Hey, the mayor of town has created town money. It's like social currency. Yeah. It's like a social credit system. It's sort of like, I don't know, company script. Remember that stuff?
and help other people.
And
decentralized finance, DeFi,
yeah,
is addressing income inequality.
Is it?
And by offering services to niche populations.
Niche populations? You mean niche populations?
The underbanked, Acorn for investing, Chime for savings, and so on and so forth.
And so on and so forth.
So there is potential if we change the systems.
Wow, you just went... Okay, so first it's all about our common trauma experience in humanity in the course of the pandemic and how we're going to show up for one another and make meaning for one another. And now it's NFTs, virtual currency, and companies that do financial services. Man, when I said I didn't know what this thing was going to be about, I was right on the money. Money.
And we have that ability.
Yeah.
Professor Mohammed Yunus, a Nobel Peace Prize winner for founding the Grameen Bank and really pioneering the concepts of microfinance and microcredit, has a call to action saying that we created our economic systems.
Systems. Oh, here. Systemic institutional up on the board. Sorry about that. She's probably said it before. I'll back up a little bit because I cut her off.
Microcredit has a call to action saying that we created our economic systems. God didn't create it. We can change these systems.
Yes, and there has been absolutely no effort. There has been absolutely no variations, experiments, attempts at certain economic systems at all throughout the course of human history. Is there a perfect system? No. We can change the system? Sure. How are you proposing to do it with virtual currency? You still end up right back where you started.
And I believe we can as well.
To what? Stop licking your lips. Get some chapstick.
Our individual meaning in life may be shaped by our families of origin, our culture, and the systems in which we grew. But what is meaningful to us as individuals has the power to shape those very systems as well.
How?
COVID disrupted our lives. It reconfigured our values.
Did it?
It reminded us that we're not the people we thought we were.
Did it?
So who have you been introduced to? Thank you.
Okay, well, if I needed a mental palate cleanser, I sure do feel a little brainwashed now. Oh, boy. Okay, let's go on to the bingo card and try to do something productive with our lives, shall we? Or at least pretend to, I guess. All right, so here is the bingo card as I currently have it. Let's go over it one more time, and then if you have arguments for squares to be circled, you will let me know. Presently, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Did she ever say the words? I don't believe so. Did she? It's the last square before a bingo, so I'm going to need either a literal mention of those concepts or a really good argument, so I'll leave that. Plays victim. Not really. There wasn't any sense I thought that she was playing victim of anything. The closest you could come is maybe like when her supervisors rejected her thesis proposal, but she didn't really lean on that too much. So, nah. Microaggressions, unconscious bias, no. Privilege, no. Patriarchy. She didn't really talk about the dynamics of genders or anything. Weightless example. You see, now here's the problem with the weightless example part. Since she was talking in abstracts, even though she was trying to say that she wasn't, it's hard to say that anything that conjures up an emotion or could be used as an example of an emotional moment doesn't apply. So, the birthday for her daughter, last birthday with her mother, I don't know that any of those technically are weightless to the presentation, but I'll leave that to you guys as well. Wage gap. She talked about finance and, she talked about, what was it? Bringing, when she was mentioning the companies that did the financial services, that they were bringing services to more people. Was that? She wasn't talking about wage gap. Maybe that's diversity, equity, include. Maybe that's an equity thing. I don't know. I'll leave that to somebody smarter than me. Feminism, no. Marginalization. I can't say for certain. Everything was so abstract. A list. I'm going to take the diagram that she showed as a list. Like, here are the list of steps in things. It was a formal presentation of like individual items. So I'm going to take that one and I will accept that one if nothing else. No, come back here, card. Let's see. White supremacy. No, she never really talked about race, strangely enough. Self-vilification or wretchedness. No, none of that. Not really. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. Some non sequitur. Again, it's hard for, showing up. That might be like lacks context or something, but yeah, you know what? I'll get to that in a second. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. She kept saying the MM thing, something meaning, a couple of times, but I don't know if that counts. Benevolent condescension, yes. Yeah, who was this for? What audience was she thinking she was talking to? Like people who had never lived in the world before. Academia is concerned with facts. Really? Either she was being condescending or she was literally as naive as the morning is young. Anecdote that probably never happened. I didn't get a sense that she crafted any particular story as too perfect or anything. It all sounded, her recollection of her daughter's birthday party was a little weird and I think overemphasized, but I don't think it was, it never happened. And leaves out vital context. Yeah. What do you mean by show up? Did she ever answer the question from her supervisors? What do you mean by meaning? I don't know that she ever did. So there's where I'm at right now. I'm on the fence with a couple there, but I will leave it to you guys. So if you have squares you think should be circled, let me know in the chat. Please tag me in those comments if you have the opportunity to, so I can tell it's you and it's me, everything else. Let's see. John Miller says, brain hurts too much from the stupid. I needed something to numb my brain a little bit. Just a bit. I needed a distraction. I've been marinating in current events for too much the last couple of days, and that's why I did this sort of ambush show, because I just needed to do something else with my brain for a little while. Somnambular Nation, didn't you say something about cryptocurrencies making things more equitable? Did she say that? Let's see. Mr. Tickle Trunk, I understood. She wants social credit instead of economics. We make our own value, not money. Even if she didn't say the actual word, that was what she was aiming for with all of that NFT stuff and virtual currency stuff and opening up opportunities for people and this, that, and the other. So, you know what? I'm going to just go for it and say, yeah.
Bingo. What? Of course!
There's our first bingo. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Okay. So we have at least one thing to take away from this. Any other arguments for squares to be circled, people? Everyone? I don't know. I'm a little frazzled right now. That was some kind of journey we just went on. Oh boy. Let's see. John Miller. And the anarchy caused. Yeah, the anarchy caused by it. Yeah. We just make our own value, our own money, economics. Yeah, Miami has a coin. Every town should have its own currency. That's a great idea. If every town has its own currency, there'll only be some rich people no matter where you go. Economic equilibrium. Some emulation says circle the whole card. I will do that at the end. I'll do that. Thank you. Keeverdam's not here to remind me, so thank you, some Nation. Any other arguments for squares to be circled, guys? Let me know. Programming note, there will be, as regularly scheduled, on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, another episode of TED Excellence. I already have one picked out for that one. So still be doing that. This was just sort of a necessary mental distraction on my part today after a stressful work day and an overall stressful last few days. So there you go. I'm not seeing any other arguments for squares to be circled, so we might just have to take solace in the single bingo for this decidedly disconnected, disparate, disjointed, something presentation. Or Dis9, if you're a Star Trek fan. Let's see. And Shadow Sonata says, need a mental palate cleanser? Watch the video Beef PC by Too Many Snacks. It should help or at least be worth a few laughs. Too many snacks? Is that what happens when Satsu 2 cents is let loose on a kitchen just casually? That was a terrible joke. Anyway, that's all I've got, everyone. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this surprise broadcast. Hope you enjoyed it, or at least got distracted for a little while from the troubles of the world. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very, very little to do. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Thursday for the next episode of TED Excellence. I hope you are all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.